Starting with our top story this morning, tensions in the Middle East continue to escalate. Taking a live look at Doha, Qatar, where strikes have rained down early this morning. Thank you so much for joining us on this Sunday. I'm Terry Hornstein in for Marcella Robertson. More strikes are being carried out in Iran today after Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was killed in a massive U.S. and Israeli military operation yesterday. As CBS's Christian Benavides reports, Iran has retaliated against U.S. military bases in the region, and protests have broken out at a U.S. embassy and consulate.
The U.S. and Israel launched more strikes today on Iran after taking out the country's supreme leader, dictator Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, and many of Iran's senior leaders. On Saturday, U.S. Central Command released video showing cruise missiles firing from an American warship and fighter jets taking off.
And this is all a precursor for follow-on strikes over the next, I would suggest, probably 2 weeks, where we go after the other targets that didn't need the surprise that the targeting of the Iranian leadership did.
Overnight, a cloud of smoke could be seen rising in Tehran, while this was the scene in Tel Aviv after a missile strike. On Sunday, tear gas was fired as protesters gathered outside the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, and several protesters were killed outside a U.S. consulate in Pakistan. There were also celebrations around the world, including in Los Angeles, the largest diaspora of Iranians in the U.S.
Every single people in Iran knew that the only way that this regime is going to go away is that to attack them.
And across the U.S., anti-war protests. Hundreds marched near the White House and in New York City.
We organized today because ultimately we recognize that the American people are overwhelmingly against these foreign acts of aggression.
President Trump warned Iran against more retaliatory strikes, writing, "We will hit them with a force that has never been seen before." Christian Benavides, CBS News.
And as you saw there has been a lot of reaction to the strikes from Chicago, Atlanta, and even the United Kingdom. People have been coming out, many to cheer, others to protest. And back here in the district, the strikes have also sent shockwaves through D.C.'s international community. Demonstrators, including many local Iranian Americans, swarmed downtown and gathered outside the White House. I shot this video here you're looking at near the World War I memorial. You can see there Iranian Americans waving flags. They were singing. They were cheering this group, hoping for a regime change here. Our Sarah Robinson also spoke to demonstrators and found their reaction as deeply personal as it is conflicted.
Iran's supreme leader has died amid combined U.S. and Israel strikes.
What's your reaction to that?
I think it's irresponsible.
Outside the White House, protesters filled the streets, angry over what they describe as dangerous foreign intervention and fearful it could lead to wider war.
The Iranian people are the only people that should determine their own future. The U.S. has no place doing that.
For Motion, this debate isn't abstract. He tells us he has aunts, uncles, and cousins still living in Iran and says every development heightens his fear for their safety.
I don't want my family to be bombed. I don't think any of us would want that.
Others at the protest shared that concern, warning that military intervention could destabilize the region and leave ordinary people paying the price.
Wars do not help people. We end up with people more poor, more homelessness, and less services.
But just a few feet away, a very different reaction unfolding. Some Iranian Americans say they've been waiting for this moment, arguing the current regime has maintained power through violence and repression, and that outside involvement is the only way meaningful change can happen.
The regime of Iran must go. The people of Iran have been done. They have been killing people in Iran. They don't know about that. People have been suffering. The regime must go. People of Iran are happy. They are dancing. They are dancing on the streets.
Others went even further, crediting U.S. and Israeli leadership for what they see as a historic turning point.
We really appreciate President Trump, Mr. Netanyahu, because they are happy Iranian people.
But still, even among those who oppose the regime, there is still deep disagreement over whether military force sets a dangerous precedent on the global stage and who should ultimately decide Iran's future.
Regardless of what you think of this government, it is the duty of the people of Iran to make any changes that they want to their society.
But no matter how they felt about U.S. involvement, both sides made it clear that their #1 concern is safety for their loved ones currently overseas. Reporting in D.C., I'm Sarah Robinson, WUSA 9.
And of course, we saw protesters supporting the U.S. and Israeli strikes rally in Georgetown, too. The protesters there waved Iranian flags and danced in the street. Many applauded President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's decision to attack for refusing to negotiate a nuclear arms agreement. The demonstrators say they hope Iran's government will change and the people can finally be free from authoritarian rule.